welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cody from Pack Pullers. Today, we are going to be continuing our Grand Archive series, and we're going to crack open the Fire Mage Rye deck. Now, I'm a little behind because it's been about a week since we did Sylvie, but I've been under the weather, I've been sick, so I haven't been able to record. But it's given me time to get in a couple things. It was my birthday recently, so I ordered a new playmat. It's one of my favorite cards ever from Magic the Gathering, Damnation, and it's a super sweet playmat. Also got... hang on. We've got Sylvie all sleeved up in these sweet blue Slime King sleeves. Where's Sylvie at? It's water. Sylvie! So we got some new sleeves for our Sylvie deck. Obviously, we're going to change it, eventually, but we've shuffled it up since then, so I can't find cards as easy. There we go. Blue slime in the Slime King sleeves. It's perfect. Also, you may have noticed that we're at a bit of a different angle. So I got a new C-arm attached to my desk here. I'll throw up a picture of it real quick. Attached to my desk, and we're going to see how that feels to record. It's a lot nicer. Gives me a lot more space here because I'm not using like this tripod on the desk shooting down. But we've got the top-down view going on. So let me know how you feel about that. If you like it, if you love it. I hope you love it. If you don't like it, then we're in trouble. But without further ado, let's crack into this. We'll go ahead and take a look at the back here. So it is a Fire Mage deck, so we've got a Spirit of Fire to start off for our material deck. So same thing, material deck, main deck. And let's see what's going on. Now, I haven't played any competitive Grand Archive yet, but I hear that Rye, especially Fire Rye, is very strong. And he just wants to get to level 3 and pop off. So let's see. Let's see what in here could let that happen. Or not let it happen, but what is good about hitting level 3? So we'll set that aside. So we start with our Spirit of Fire. So 15 health on enter, draw 7 cards. Then we have Rye. Let me see. That looks good. I like it. Then we have Rye Spellcrafter. On enter, put 2 Enlightened counters on Rye. You may remove 3 Enlightened counters from your champion to draw a card. Interesting. We like card draw. Level 2, Rye Archmage. Rye Lineage, so you have to come from another Rye hero. Inherited effect, whenever you activate your first mage action card each turn. So that includes opponent's turns. Whenever you activate your first mage action, you put an enlightened counter on your champion. Your champion has this ability as long as it's part of the lineage. This one did not have that inherited effect. Interesting. So I wonder if after you level up, if you can still use that. I don't think so. Not the way the card's reading. And then level 3, Rye Storm Seer. Rye Lineage must be evolved from Rye Hero. He gets +1 level for each arcane element mage spell in our banishment zone. Interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go through this and see how that's going to be good. Let's see, rest of our material deck. Crystal of Empowerment. Banish it. Your champion gets +2 level till end of turn. That's probably what you want to say for your real big pop-off turn. Endura, Scepter of Ignition. Tap it, remove an enlightened counter from your champion, deal 1 damage to target unit. It is at slow speed. Okay, so little ping, little 1 damage ping. Life Essence Amulet, whenever an ally you control dies, while it's not your turn, you may banish it and draw a card. Mana Limiter. You can't remove enlightened counters from your champion to pay for costs. Did we have something that said we could do that? Interesting. Banish mana limiter, draw a card, activate this ability only if your champion has 6 or more enlightened counters on him. So probably just another cycle. Surveillance Stone, whenever an opponent declares an attack with a unit for the 3rd time each turn, you may banish a stone and draw a card. Tome of Knowledge, your champion gets +1 level, which is a class bonus from Mage, and then banish the tome to draw a card. The Water Resonance Bauble, which is probably just like the Wind Resonance Bauble that we had in the other deck. Draw a card, activate this only if your opponent controls a water element. And last, Arcanist Prism. At the beginning of your recollection phase, put all cards from your memory on the bottom of your deck in any order, then draw that many cards. Nice little cycle. And draw some cards. All right, let's get into it. So we have 3 copies of Barrier Servant, 2/2 with Intercept, which is great, especially in the early game. Remove 2 enlightened counters from your champion. The next damage that would be dealt to Barrier Servant this turn. Oh, prevent that damage. Interesting. So she can protect herself. That's really strong in the early game. 2 copies of Careful Study, Efficiency. This card costs less to activate per level of your champion. So it's an 8-cost card. If I'm level 5, that means that this is only going to cost 3. So put 5 enlightened counters on your champion. You may remove 3 enlightened counters from your champion to draw a card. Oh, okay. That's it. I see what you're saying. So you just get 5 enlightened counters. It's pretty good. Idle Thoughts. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck and then put them back in any order. And Floating Memory. We love Floating Memory. Love it as a mechanic. Oh, full playset of Library Witch. What a great card. I see this in a lot of decks. So it's really great to have it in a starter deck. So 0/1 Intercept. On death, draw a card. It's great. Block some damage in the early game. Get a card. Card advantage is always good. Doesn't matter what game you're playing. 3 copies of Magus Disciple. Your champion gets +1 level. On death, draw a card. That is a class bonus. We're not a cleric, obviously, but we get the mage class bonus, so that's good. Right, are all rise a mage, even the lower levels? Yeah, mage. Let's see here. 3 copies of Peer into Mana. Put 2+ level enlightened counters on your champion. So again, if we're saying that we're level 5, we would put 2 + 5. So we'd get 7 enlightened counters. Those enlightened counters seem to be very important. I'm not sure what for yet, but seem to be very important. Scry the Skies. We saw this in our last decks. Glimpse equal to your level, and then draw a card into your memory. So you glimpse first, which is very important. So you go and you look through the cards, then you decide what you want to put back on top, and then draw that card into your memory, which is very good. It's especially good in this because it seems like we're really going to be boosting our level. So you might be just, popping off looking at 10 cards. All right, let's get into some fire stuff. We haven't seen any fire cards. Blitz Mage, a 3/1 ally. Early game. Smack some damage. 2 copies of Creative Shock. So draw 2 cards and discard a card. Class bonus, if a fire element card was discarded, you may choose a unit and deal 2 damage to it. That's pretty good, especially at fast speed. Play this on your opponent's turn. Get that ride bonus, get the enlightened counters. Draw 2 cards, discard a card is great. It's card advantage still. And then if you can discard a card, maybe it has floating memory, you're going to ping 2 damage. That seems really good. 2 copies of Cremation Ritual. As an additional cost to activate this card, sacrifice an ally, then draw 2 cards. Okay. 1 copy of Disintegrate. It's a slow spell. It has efficiency, so it costs 8, but that's going to be reduced by our level. Destroy target ally or regalia. I was like, man, there's a lot of text here. What does it do? It pops something. Ooh, here we go. Getting into the meat. Wow, 4 copies. 4 copies of Fireball. All right, I'm back. Sorry, still not quite over this cough, but that's okay. So we have 4 copies of Fireball. Class bonuses cost 2 less to activate, so it would only cost 2, but it deals 1 plus your level to target unit. So again, if we're using the example that we're at 5, that would be 2 cost for 6 damage if we're at level 5. What else do we got here? Wow, 4 copies of that too is really good. Flame Rune Swordsman. 2/2 with floating memory. Looks like a great early game ally to play. Get some damage in. Get the floating memory. All right. 3 copies of Focused Flame. Let's see. Class bonus, this card costs 1 less to activate, so it only costs 1. Deals 4 damage to target ally. It's at slow speed, which isn't great, but I love removal. Removal is always great. We have 4 copies of Ignite the Soul. It is at fast spell. Deal 1 damage to target unit. Cost 1, deals 1. So, cost 1, deals 4 to an ally specifically. But this can deal damage to a unit. So this can deal damage to the enemy champion at fast speed. And it has floating memory. So it doesn't do near as much damage, but casting it on your opponent's turn, getting those enlightened counters, and then having it as floating memory afterwards all seems great. 2 copies of Impassioned Tuner. On attack, your champion gets +1 level until end of turn. It's a 1/3 ally. Again, stacking those levels. Let's see what we could use it for. Oh, here we go. 8 cost. Purge in Flames. Again, costs has efficiency, so it costs less per our level. If we're still using the level 5 example, so it would cost 3. Deal 2 damage to all units except for your champion. Class bonus, deal 3 damage to those units instead. So interesting. So you have a board clear, but it does damage to yours as well. Okay, here we go. So now we're getting into the big cards. So just like with Sylvie when we got to level 3 and we had the Terra element, now we're going to get to level 3 and we have the Arcane element. So let's see what our first Arcane card is. We have 2 copies of Anger the Skies. Cost 3. Deal 3 damage to all allies. Class bonus, deal 4 damage to those allies instead. So one thing I don't kind of like, allies in my mind means strictly friendly characters, but allies in this game refers to all creature-based, or board-based units. So they are all referred to allies. So whether it's both yours and your opponent's board-based characters, not their champion though. So again, we have another board clear, 3 damage or 3 cost, 4 damage to all. It's pretty good. Oh, so here's how you win, in my mind. Arcane Blast. It costs 11. It's efficiency, so it's reduced by your level cost. Deals 11 damage to target champion. So I think the most life we've seen is 25. So, saying you've done 3 damage to an opponent throughout the entire game, and you pop off 2 Arcane Blasts, you win. So that looks like... Here, we'll talk. Oh, hey, we're back. Because in the worst possible timing, my camera decided to say that it was full storage. So we were just talking about Arcane Blast absolutely ripping off and destroying people. So let's continue through the deck and see what we have that can help facilitate that. So next, we have 3 copies of Arcane Disposition. And by the way, you may have noticed I zoomed the camera in a little more. Let me know if you guys like that. If you like seeing the cards better, or if you like the wider over the head camera angle. Let me know which one. But we have 3 copies of Arcane Disposition. Draw 2 cards at the beginning of the next end step, end phase. Discard your hand. And then class bonus, draw a card. So what I like about this, so first of all, the next end phase is the end of our turn. So at the end of our turn, we have to discard our whole hand, which is terrible because those are cards we want to play, and those are also the resource that we need to play cards. But if we plan this out right, and we spend all of our cards down into our memory, then at the end of the phase, we have no cards in hand. We don't have to discard anything. Or maybe we have 1 card in hand. We got to throw 1 card away, right? Opponent goes, they do their turn, comes back to us, materialize, recollection phase, we get all those cards back into our hand. So that is spooky because you never want to discard your hand, but looks like you can probably play around it pretty well. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Arcane Sight. 0 cost. Your champion gets +1 level until end of turn. Draw a card. It is a fast spell. You probably wouldn't want to play it on your opponent's turn. Maybe just to get that enlightened counter, but, you know, giving your champion +1 until end of turn on their turn doesn't seem super great. But if you want to cycle the card and get the enlightened counter, you can. So, another fast spell, we have Power Overwhelming, also a 0 cost. Now, this is where we pop off. This is the game ender. Remove any amount of enlightened counters from your champion. Your champion gets +1 level for each counter removed this way until end of turn. We have seen so many cards in this deck. Our passive effect off our champion, all these things that give us these enlightened counters that just stack and stack and stack and stack and stack. And now we have a card that rips all those off and gives us level bonuses. Level bonuses does everything from reduce the cost of our cards to play, to add damage to our card, to make it to where we look at more cards off the top of our deck from Scry the Skies. Is that the name of that card, Scry the Skies? I'm still learning this card game, guys. I think I'm doing, yes, Scry the Skies. I think I'm doing a good job, but I just did that. I'm pretty sure I did that off camera. Scry the Skies. So it does everything from, let us look at more cards on Scry the Skies, more damage from Fireball, and then reduces the cost of an 11 damage nuke. So those levels and those enlightened counters are super easy. We've been spending this whole time looking at them, wondering, man, what are we going to do with these enlightened counters? That's what we do. That's what we do. And as our last card, and one more way to generate enlightened counters, we have a 3-cost Spell Shield Arcane. Class bonus, it costs 1 less to activate, so 2 cost. The next time damage would be dealt to your champion this turn, prevent that damage, put an amount of enlightened counters on your champion equal to the amount of damage prevented that way. So they're swinging wide. Lorraine gets a big hit. She's one that hits you for, I know there's a way with a fire deck, fire character, but I actually saw it in a fire ride deck. But to deal, you know, a quick 14 burst of damage with a weapon and a weapon boost and then something that deals double damage. So you could prevent that, and then boom, all of a sudden you have 14 more enlightened counters. That by itself could give you 14 levels on a turn. Absolutely disgusting what it looks like you can do with this deck. Let's rip through and pick out some of my favorite cards out of this. And I think Arcane Blast absolutely has to be one. Spell Shield Arcane, I really like. Let's do this on camera. I like Fireball, just because it's a fireball, but it also feels really basic. Scry the Skies is great, but it's in every deck. Should be. But I'm being a little hypocritical and saying Library Witch, which also should be in every deck. Barrier Servant. I really like these 4 cards. I wanted to make sure that we picked cards that weren't in the other starter deck. I really like Library Witch and Barrier Servant. These are 2 really good early cards that can help prevent damage. Library Witch gives you the, card advantage. She goes to the grave, you draw a card. Wonderful. Barrier Servant also has intercept, and then you can even prevent damage that would do to it. It can even deal the damage because it's 2. But, if your goal is to prevent damage, you're probably not attacking with it because then you can't use intercept. But it seems to be very flexible and very useful. So, let's see. So now we have opened both Sylvie and Rye. So we have 2 starter decks that are open. So now that we have 2 that are open, I'm going to have to start getting into some play testing. And before my camera started recording, started talking about this. I really like, as much as I like to get starter decks and take the staples from them and build stronger decks, I really enjoy having, hang on one second, a collection of like ready to play starter decks at my house for just all sorts of card games. And so that way, when somebody comes over, a friend comes over, and they want to play, I'm not popping out some super meta competitive deck. We're playing on the same field. You know, we're using the same stuff. I really enjoy having those around, which is why you guys see me open these starter decks so often, is because I love to buy them. I think it's a great way to get into a card game, and I think it's a great thing to have around the house. Now that I have 2 of these Grand Archive decks open, I'm going to have to start play testing them against each other and see what I really enjoy and see what I really like. I think I'm still partial to Sylvie, just because I like, so when I play Magic the Gathering, I was always a big fan of like green big monster beats. Now the starter deck that we have for Sylvie is a blue deck, so it doesn't seem to be as focused on the monster type, but I think Wind Sylvie will fix that. But we'll see. We're gonna play Sylvie against Rye, and see what we like. Now, with all that being said, we have one more thing to talk about because I just reminded myself of it. I have been trying to give this away for ages. This is an Idris versus Raha 2-player starter set for Genesis Battle of Champions. Comes with everything you need to get playing for 2 players. An Idris starter deck, a Raha starter deck, dice. Oh, we can even read it. Includes Raha Champion, a 50-card deck for her, the Aura cards, which is like your resource. The Idris Champion card, a 50-card deck, her Aura cards, 2 30-sided dice to track your health, learn to play guide, and a playmat. Both with an art poster on the side, 2 deck boxes for storage. This is such a wonderful product. I have 2 of them. I need to open one and show you guys what comes in it. And so you can see whether or not you'd ever want to buy one. I'm glad that it comes with the playmat because I'm not sure. I'm not even going to be able to show all of this playmat. I'm not sure how easy or difficult these are to get a hold of. I was lucky enough to get my playmat from the creators of the game. They were nice enough to send it to me with some lovely goodies. I still have the letter they sent me. It was wonderful. Shout out to Haunted Castle Gaming. And roll this up. But I'm not sure how difficult those are to get a hold of. So it's good that it comes with that playmat because unlike most other card games, this is super playmat, or not really playmat dependent, but play space dependent since it's a grid-based game. So you have your cards, but you have grid-based placement. It's still one of my favorites. I love the idea behind it. I love the grid-based combat. It's wonderful. So, but all that to say, please tell me you want this. Leave a comment down below. Say, hey, I want the Genesis 2-player starter set, and I will give it to you for free. So do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe, leave a comment telling me that you want this. Leave a comment telling me how excited you are to open up our last Grand Archive starter deck, the Win Lorraine deck. Let me know what you think your favorite may be. Let me know if you like Rye. Just tell me what you're thinking. But most importantly, tell me what you think of the new setup. So we've got the new playmat. We've got the new C-arm. Tell me if you like the top-down view or not, if you want to go back to the old view. The old view was just a little harder to manage because I'd have this, like, you know, this tripod sitting on my desk, and I'd have to do everything in front of the tripod. And so I like having the C-arm and, like, all this space open. Tell me if you liked earlier in the video where it was a little more zoomed out and we had more space to work with, or if you like the later part of the video where it's more zoomed in, you know, kind of right here, and we can see the cards better. So I just want you guys to engage with me. Tell me what's going on. I love you. Thank you for watching, and come back, and we're going to open up this Win Lorraine deck next time. Thanks, guys. Bye.